Single parenting can feel like a solo journey, but it doesn't have to be. Introducing MomFlex app, the ultimate village web app designed just for you. From financial support to community connections, MomFlex app offers a lifeline, helping you navigate parenting with confidence. Find trusted resources, build your support network, and thrive, because every parent deserves a village. Join the movement today. Visit momflex.org to install the app and take the first step toward a stronger, more supported you.
Every day's a battle, every step a climb, but we're standing tall, we're building our lives. Through the sleepless nights and the endless fight, we rise, we shine, we hold on tight. We are more than the labels, more than the pain, breaking the cycle, rewriting the game. Stronger together we lift, we strive. Single parents, we rise and thrive. Beyond the struggle, we rise and thrive. Turning our pain into power, we're alive. We feel you matter, you're strong inside. Together we shine, we rise, we thrive. Stories of triumph, stories of grace. Single parents with dreams to chase. They said we'd break, they said we'd fall, but look at us now, we're standing tall. We are more than the labels, more than the pain, breaking the cycle, rewriting the game. Stronger together we lift, we strive. Single parents, we rise and thrive. Beyond the struggle, we rise and thrive. Turning our pain into power, we're alive. We see you matter, you're strong inside. Together we shine, we rise, we thrive. We push through the stigma, defy every step. They don't define us, and that's a fact. A village of love, a future so bright. Hand in hand, we own our life. Beyond the struggle, we rise and thrive. Turning our pain into power, we're alive. We see you matter, you're strong inside. Together we shine, we rise, we thrive. The journey is tough, but we're not alone. In this village we found our home. So lift your head, let your spirit fly. Beyond the struggle, we rise and thrive.
Welcome back to Beyond the Struggle, Rise and Thrive. I'm your host, La Fortune, and today's topic is something every single one of us has lived through. Whether we openly speak about it, talk it away in silence, or are still trying to make sense of it. How do you find your way back to yourself after life knocks you off course? How do you move from feeling lost, disconnected, drained, and unsure of who you are to feeling centered, confident, aligned, and entirely in your identity again? When life hits hard, whether through heartbreak, trauma, disappointment, burnout, failure, or unexpected change, we don't just lose our plans. Sometimes we lose parts of ourselves, parts we forgot were valuable, parts we didn't know we had handed over, parts we didn't realize needed protection. Today's episode title is From Lost to Align, Coming Back to Yourself After Hardship. And if you are listening right now, it's probably because at some point, maybe recently, maybe long ago, maybe just a minute ago, something shook your world, shifted your direction, or challenged who you thought you were. So this episode is for you, for the survivor, the rebuilder, the quiet healer, the one still trying, the one learning, and the one finally ready to reconnect with the version of themselves that feels whole, worthy, and true. So, my friends, grab your cup of coffee, tea, or whatever you love to sip on. Let's get into it, shall we? Hardship has a way of making us a stranger to ourselves. It doesn't just hurt, it reshapes us. You can go through a breakup, burnout, job loss, financial crisis, betrayal, illness, miscarriage, family conflict, whatever your challenge is, or even a slow, silent season where life feels heavy and suddenly the person you once knew, you, feels unfamiliar. You find yourself saying things like, I don't laugh the way I used to. I don't know what I enjoy anymore. I feel disconnected from who I was. I don't feel like myself in my own life. It's like waking up inside your own story, but not remembering your character's line, purpose, or personality. You walk through the same routines, same bed, same job, same community, but something inside has shifted. The reflection in the mirror looks familiar, yet something essential feels missing. If you are listening right now and you are thinking, wow, that's me, pause, breathe, release the pressure. You are not the problem. You are not broken. You are not behind. You are not weak. You're definitely not failing. You are evolving. You are shedding. You are rebuilding. You are transitioning into who you are becoming. Sometimes you must lose the version of yourself that was built on survival to discover the version that was meant to live. When we are struggling, survival mode kicks in, and survival mode is both a gift and a limitation. Survival mode is powerful. It's instinctual. It's designed to keep you functioning when everything feels like it's falling apart. Survival mode is narrow. It shrinks your world down to the smallest possible goal. Just get through the day. And when your mind is focused on getting through, you don't have the emotional bandwidth to think about becoming. Your dreams get quiet, your creativity gets dim, your desire gets muted, your intuition gets pushed to the background. You stop exploring possibilities because possibilities require energy. You stop imagining what you want because imagining requires hope. You stop listening to your inner voice because all your attention is on coping with what's right in front of you. Your life becomes a series of reactions instead of intentional choices. A man I knew once lost his job out of the blue. No warning, no plans, no safety net, and he went into survival mode. He panicked. He felt ashamed and felt pressure to bounce back fast. So he applied to everything, anything, without thinking about whether it aligned with who he was or what he wanted. A few months later, exhausted and miserable, he said to me, I wasn't choosing. I was scrambling. I picked the first thing that felt like safety, not the thing that felt like me. That scramble disconnected him not just from his career path, but from his values, his confidence, his sense of direction, and eventually his identity. That's what hardship does. It pushes us into a state where we react instead of reflecting. I'm sorry. And it is in those reaction-filled seasons where misalignment creeps in quietly, not because you are doing anything wrong, but because it's nearly impossible to build a meaningful, aligned life while you are fighting to stay afloat. The good news, survival mode is not a destination, it's a season, and seasons shift. There comes a moment, often quiet, almost unnoticeable, when you realize that something inside you is calling you back home. It doesn't arrive with fireworks or a dramatic revelation or perfect plan. It usually shows up like a gentle tap on the shoulder, a whisper rather than a shout. Maybe you start feeling a nudge to change your routine. You not because someone told you to, but because something in your soul is no longer satisfied with autopilot. Maybe you feel a teeny spark of creativity, curiosity, or joy. And even though it's small, it feels like a piece of you that you forgot existed. Maybe you catch yourself longing to slow down, breathe deeply, or do something simply because it feels good, not because it's productive. That moment, that whisper, that inner dog is the beginning of alignment. Not because everything suddenly makes sense, but because your inner self has started speaking again and you are finally quiet enough to hear it. Alignment rarely begins with big decisions. It begins with awareness, the realization that your soul is asking for more than mere survival. After months of burnout, a friend of mine, a dedicated, compassionate career person, reached out and she reached her emotional edge. She wasn't falling apart, but she noticed a persistent repetitive thought that kept surfacing in her mind. I need space. And not a vacation, not a spa day, not a weekend getaway. Space. Room to feel again. Room to breathe again. Room to exist outside of pressure and responsibility. Once she allowed herself to acknowledge that desire, she didn't overhaul her life overnight. There were no dramatic resignation letters, impulsive trips, or radical lifestyle changes. None of that. Instead, she started with gentle, meaningful shift. She started requesting shorter time when possible. She started saying no without lengthy explanations. She stepped outside for fresh air during her breaks. She started putting her phone down after work, sitting in silence instead of filling space with noise. Each small decision became a breadcrumb, subtle but significant, leading her back to her true self, her needs, her emotional clarity. And that's how alignment works. It rarely arrives as a leap. It usually returns as a quiet homecoming. I usually say it comes as a whisper. Just stay silent early morning, especially while you are just sitting there, maybe when you are taking a shower and that water is dripping and that silence creeps in and you hear that little whisper come to you. That's alignment. That's how alignment works. So today I'm going to give you 3 deeply effective ways to realign after hardship that works for me. Okay. For me. I don't know about you, but it works for me. So I am sharing that with you today. The number one thing is slow down enough to hear yourself again. You cannot reconnect with your identity, your intuition, or your inner truth if you are sprinting emotionally, mentally, or spiritually. When life has been heavy, your internal voice becomes quiet, not because it disappears, but because exhaustion is louder. Slowing down doesn't always mean taking a vacation or pausing your responsibilities. Often it simply means creating micro moments of stillness where your nervous system can excel. Take just a few minutes each day to sit in silence without music, without scrolling, without fixing, without performing, journal or voice note not to produce a solution, but to witness your feelings. Ask yourself gently, what am I feeling right now? Emotionally, physically, spiritually. When we give ourselves permission to be still, our truth rises to the surface. Alignment begins with an awareness, and awareness requires slowing down. Number 2, ask the question, what feels true for me now, right this moment, right this minute? Transformation requires updated truth. You are not the same person you were before the loss, the betrayal, the burnout, the setback, the illness, or the transition, and pretending you are only delays healing. So instead of asking, what should I want? What do people expect from me? What used to make sense? Shift the question to what feels true for me now as the person I currently am. Give yourself permission to evolve. Growth is not disloyalty to your past. It is honor to your present. Hardship reshapes identity. And if identity evolves, then your choices, boundaries, relationships, dreams, and priorities must evolve too. You are allowed to grow and outgrow what once felt right. You are allowed to desire differently, and you are allowed to rewrite the script. Number 3, take micro actions that support who you are becoming. You don't need to burn your life down, start over, or make grand dramatic changes to return to alignment. Healing is not a massive leap. It's a sequence of teeny, repeated, self-honoring decisions. Ask yourself, what is the smallest, kindest, most doable step I can take today that aligns with who I am becoming? Because macro actions are powerful. If you want more peace, take 5 slow, intentional breaths or enjoy 5 quiet minutes daily. If you want confidence, keep one small promise to yourself. If you want authenticity, speak one honest sentence even if your voice shakes. If you want more courage, do one teeny thing that stretches you gently beyond comfort. Every teeny aligned action becomes an anchor, a reminder of who you are, what you value, and what direction you are moving in. Over time, these small choices create noticeable transformation because consistency shapes identity far more than intensity. The goal isn't to rebuild yourself overnight, but to return to yourself one aligned step at a time.
Every day's a battle, every step a climb, but we're standing tall, we're building our lives. Through the sleepless nights and the endless fight, we rise, we shine, we hold on tight.
The most powerful thing about coming back to yourself is this. You don't return as who you were. You return as who you were meant to become. The version of you that rises after hardship is not a duplicate of your past self. It's wiser, more grounded, more self-aware version that could only be formed through experience, honesty, and healing. Hardship may strip things away, routines, relationships, illusions, expectations, identities, ego, you name it, but it never leaves you empty for nothing. It clears the clutter so you can finally see what is real. Hardship strips away the noise. Alignment rebuilds the truth. Through the journey back to yourself, you learn what you truly value, not what you were told to value. You learn what matters, not what looked good from the outside. You also learn who is aligned with your soul, not just your season. You learn who is meant to walk with you and who was only meant to walk you to the next chapter. You learn that peace is not a luxury, it's a requirement. You also learn that your voice is not optional, it's necessary. And you learn something most people don't realize until life forces it. You are never defined by what happened to you. You are defined by who you become after it. So when you finally come back to yourself, after the confusion, the rebuilding, the silence, the searching, the letting go, and the rediscovering, you don't return fragile. You return rooted. You return self-aware. You return intentional, aligned, resilient in a way that cannot be performed, only lived. Because the version of you that rises after being broken, stretched, challenged, or emptied is the version of you that understands both your power and your worth. And that version of you, that is the most resilient, authentic, unshakable version you have ever been and ever will be. If today's episode resonated with you, let this be your reminder. You are allowed to rebuild, not from who you were expected to be, but from who you are becoming. You are allowed to change, even if others don't understand it, even if it makes people uncomfortable, even if it means rewriting chapters you once dreamed of. You are allowed to come back home to yourself slowly, softly, gently, and entirely on your own terms. There is no deadline for healing, no perfect timeline for rediscovery, and no shame in needing space, clarity, or time. Thank you so much for listening to Beyond the Struggle, Rise and Thrive. Your time, your presence, and your willingness to grow mean more than you know. If today's episode moved you, encouraged you, or gave you language for what you are experiencing, please share with someone who might be navigating their own storm, their own transition, and their own silent rebuilding. A single message, a share link, or simpler thinking of you could change someone's entire day or the entire direction. And before we close, I want to leave you with a quote that perfectly captures today's message. Sometimes you lose yourself for a while, only to return as someone stronger, wiser, and far more aligned with the life you are meant to live. Until next time, keep rising, keep thriving, and keep choosing yourself even on the days it feels hardest. Ciao now.
Every day's a battle, every step a climb, but we're standing tall, we're building our lives through the sleepless nights and the endless fight. We rise, we shine, we hold on tight. We are more than the labels, more than the pain. Breaking the cycle, rewriting the game. Stronger together, we lift, we strive. Single parents, we rise and thrive. Beyond the struggle, we rise and thrive. Turning our pain into power, we're alive. We see you, you matter, you're strong inside. Together we shine, we rise, we thrive. Stories of triumph, stories of grace. Single parents with dreams to chase. They said we'd break, they said we'd fall, but look at us now, we're standing tall. We are more than the labels, more than the pain. Breaking the cycle, rewriting the game. Stronger together, we lift, we strive. Single parents, we rise and thrive. Beyond the struggle, we rise and thrive. push through the stigma, defy every stat. They don't define us, and that's a fact. A village of love, a future so bright. Hand in hand, we own our life. Beyond the struggle, we rise and thrive. Turning our pain into power, we're alive. We see who you matter, you're strong inside. Together we shine, we rise, we thrive. The journey is tough, but we're not alone. In this village we found our home. So lift your head, let your spirit fly. Beyond the struggle, we rise and thrive.